Okay, Shalom Chaver. We're gonna start from Haman base in the bottom. The last lines. When I was a small child, Amina Milsa the Sha'ilna Sabaya. I said something that was asked later to the Zakanim. The Ishtakach Kavasei, and it came out that they said what I said. So what I said was right, and we asked the Zakanim afterwards. What did I say? What's he saying? Hamas Zutfaya. The city Hamas is Tveria. The Lamanika Shmei Hamas. Why is it called Hamas? Al Shem Chami Tveria. Because of the hot springs of Tveria, the Lashon Hamas is hot. Rekes Utzipari. The Rekes is Tzipari. The Lamanika Shmei Rekes. Mishum Debindlaya Karaksa the Nara. Rekes sits elevated on a mountain, just like the Nahar sits elevated on top of the riverbanks. Kineres Zu Ginsar. Kineres is the city of Gins. Kineres, the Mesiki, Pera, Kikala, the Chinri. The fruits of Ginza of Ginza were so sweet, like the sound of a harp. And we had on Amud Beis, Amud Beis, that Rekes is Tveria. So Rabbi has a problem with this memory of Rabbi Yechanan. Amar Rabbi mi ikal lemanda Amar Rekes lav Tveria he. When a person dies over here in Bavel, Hasam over there in Tveria. Now it seems there's two reasons why we know that it's Tveria. Rashi seems to say that they buried Tveria was where they buried where there was a lot of kfura. It seems like, or when they came to Bavel, they went through Tveria. There's two different understandings. Saftile, they were maspid in Tveria. Hachi Gadol. He was a gadol in Sheshach. Sheshach is Bavel Ba'atbash. So Shin Chaf, is Beis Lamed. The Shem Loi Berekes, and he has a name in Rekes, which is Tveria. And if they were brought up to Eretz Yisrael, if they were buried in Eretz Yisrael, then when they brought up the Aron, they were mastered them as follows. I have a Seridim, the Oyev Yisrael, Yeshvi Rekes, the dwellers of Rekes, Se'u, the Kildu, Haroge, Amok. Come out and be makabel those who are slain in Amok. The Lashon is slain because it's either they died early because they lived in Babel, they weren't being Yaitza, the Mitzvah Yeshivas Eretz Yisrael. We all have to do a little tshuva over there. Ki Yinach Nafshe de Rav Zera. Rav Zera was Nifter. Rav Zera was born in Babel, moved to Eretz Yisrael during his lifetime, and then was Nifter in Eretz Yisrael. It's Pasach Leah Husavtana. There was this. I guess he was paid or he was appointed maspid. He started off like he said. This is what he said. Eretz Shina Haraviyada. Eretz Shina refers to Babel. This is what the Torah calls Babel before the Daraflaga. Haraviyada conceived and birthed is Rav Zera. Eretz Tzvi, but the land of Tzvi, the land of Eretz Yisrael, which is referred to Tzvi because of the way that it fits in all its inhabitants. Gidla Shashua, but it raised its delights. In other words, it's Babel's delights, which is Rav Zera, was raised in Eretz Yisrael. Ayin Allah Amar Rekes. Rekes says a woe to herself. Ki avda kli chamdasa, because they lost a. It's like a beloved instrument. So we see that Tveria was well known to be Rekes and not Tzipari, not Tzipari like Rabbi Yechanan said. Ella Amar Rabbi says not like, so that's not what it is. He argues in Rabbi Yechanan. Chamas zut chami garar. Chamas is garar atu chame garar. Rekes zut Tveria. We're going to see in a second why. Kineres du ginsa, like we already said, the fruits are sweet like a harp. Alam nikra shemai Rekes. So Rekes is Tveria. Why Rekes? What Rekes? Shafil ve'kanam shabam leim mitzvahs kariban. Even though the empty Jews, even the Jews that are not big Talmidei Chacham and Eiskim Torah, they still have a tremendous amount of mitzvahs, like a remind. So it refers to Tveria with the word Rekes, referring to those Rekanim Jews. Rabbi Yirmiyah Amar Rekes Shema. Rekes is the real name, and Tverius is the nickname. V'lama nikra Shema Tveria. So why is it called? Why is the nickname Tveria? Sheyesheves b'tibur shel Eretz Yisrael. It sits in the middle like a belly button of Eretz Yisrael. Rabbi Amar Rekes Shema. Rekes is its real name. V'lama nikra Shema Tveria. Shetoiva rayaseh. It's very beautiful to see. And Taisha says there's a lot of gardens and orchards, and it's beautiful to its simple. It's beautiful to its It's visually pleasant. This is another word I'm thinking of, but it's not coming to me. Amar Zira says, Kitron Zut Tzipari. Kitron, the city of Kitron, is called Tzipari. Is really Tzipari. V'lama nechashemai Tzipari, sheyeshev is b'reish hahar k'tzipar, and it's elevated on top of the mountain, like a tzipar, like a bird sits on an elevated plane, like on an elevated position. Affecting Gemara, v'kitan Tzipari. How could you tell me Kitron is Tzipari? Now the Gemara is going to go through a whole long arichos of how that doesn't make sense. Kitron is in the chelik of Zevulun. How do we know this? Zevulun it says a gnai for Zevulun that they did not banish the dwellers when they took over Eretz Yisrael. They did not banish they did not banish those inhabitants of these two cities. Instead, they chose to govern them and tax them. The Zevulun Misram Amidaisav, and Zevulun was bitter and about their allotted chelak in Eretz Yisrael. Hava Shenamar. How do you know that they were upset about their chelak? Yeah, Zvulun, because it says in the pasuk Zvulun Am Cheref Nashay Lamos. This pasuk, the pasuk pshat of the pasuk, is a shvach to Zvulun, and it says that they were moisei nefesh in the war against Sisera, and they were willing to die for the war. The problem is the pasuk pshat that the second half of the pasuk doesn't really fit that gang, because it starts talking about the lands of Naphtali. So the Gemara darshans, therefore, that Zvulun attached differently. Am cheref nafshay, they shamed themselves to the point of death. Matam, what was the catalyst? Like what was the nakuda that? Why did they shame themselves? What were they? What caused them to act shamefully? Nisham the Naphtali because Naphtali was sitting on beautiful plains, sadais. Therefore, that caused them to embarrass themselves, to shame themselves. Amar Zevulun Kadosh Baruch Hu Ribono Shel Olam La'achai nasata lahem sadis akramin. You gave my brother sadis and fields and vineyards. And you gave me mountains and hills, which I can't plow and I can't plant normally. You gave my brother dry land. And you gave me land off the sea and lands that have rivers going through them. Now, today we would say they have beachfront property. It's a big mitzvah, but he did not. I guess he wasn't in real estate. Amalei Akash answers him that you should be happy because everyone's going to need you. Everyone's going to need, because the chilazon was in Zevulun's chelak. How do we know this? Shenamar Amim Har Yikro. The people shall be called to the mountain, which could refer to Tzipari because it's elevated. I think that's what it means. V'shefuni tamuni chol. And Tani Rav Yosef, the Yosef Darshans ended a pasuk. Shefuni zeh chalazon. Shefuni means that there's chalazon there. Tamuni zeh teris, which Rashi attaches as literally tuna fish. Chol zuzuchuchis levena. And this chol is not just sand; it's sand that's eligible for that's able to make white glass. It's very chashuv, a very expensive material. So I'm the fun of Zvulun's not happy still. Who's going to tell me? In other words, how am I going to protect my resources? It's very nice. You gave me expensive fish and expensive sand and expensive fish and expensive sand and the chilazon. How am I going to protect my resources out in the ocean? Amaloi, the middle of that pasuk that we just said is Sham Yizbachu Zivchei Tzedek. So that pasuk it says that they're going to shecht Zivchei Tzedek over there by the har. So Siman Zayelacha. This is going to be a siman for you, just like by an oila. Zivchei Tzedek, right? Just by like an oila. If someone steals it, it's not mila for the ganef. Kol hanaitim l'cha b'loy damim. Anyone who takes your resources without paying for them, einay maya b'pragmatia shaloi klum. It's not going to help his business at all. Fine. So that's the end of the dialogue between Zvulun and Akash Baruch Hu of why he's upset, and Akash Baruch Hu being Matthiasin with his lot. Why lechatchila was his problem? It's a beautiful piece of land, Tzipari. So why was he Bechal upset? The Chitim and the lads knows why the Akash Baruch Hu have to be Matthiasin with chilazin and zechuchas and all this stuff. The Sipari itself is beautiful. Let's say you're going to say that the Enechanami, it's a beautiful piece of land, but it doesn't have this nakuda of Zavas Chal V'Dvash. But Amar Reish Lakish, we know that it's not true. But Amar Reish Lakish, I saw Zavas Chal V'Dvash Tzipari, the have Shisha Asamel al Shisha Asamel. So we're going to do a little math here, but it's 16 mil out 16 mil. So that was the chelik of Chal V'Dvash that was in Tzipari. If you're going to say that if you're going to say that it still wasn't enough relative to his brothers, in other words, that it was a lot of Zavas Chal V'Dvash, but his brothers had more relatively. I saw the entire Zavas Chal V'Dvash of the whole Eretz Yisrael. Kubi ad Akra, the Tobakni, this. It's the distance between Veikobi to the port of Tolbakni, which is Esrin, the Tartan, Parsi, Orcha, 22 Parsin, Y long, Upusti, and its width, Shisa Parsi, so it's 22 by 6, which is 132, and 16 by 16 is 16 by, no, it's 16 by 16, talking mil or talking, hold on, it's 16 mil is 4 parsa, so it's 4 by 4, it's 16 square parsa. We said before mil, which is 4 parsa. Right, 16 mil is 4 parsa. So it's 4 by 4, so 16 square parsa, and it's 132 parsa in the whole Yisrael. So 16 into 132 is like 8 and change. Basically, he got more than 10% of the Zavas Chal V'Dvash chelik of Eretz Yisrael. I think my math is right. Makes sense? Okay. I feel the Hachi of the Gemara. So no, again, the Gemara's kasha is now that I just explained to you how beautiful the land is and how beautiful Tzipari is, and even the Gabi of Zavas Chal V'Dvash, there's a Ma'ila. I feel the Hachi, the Gemara says, this is what he wanted. You see that his complaint was about specifically the Sades of Naphtali. That's what he wanted. So it makes sense. So it's not a kasha how the Kitron could be Tzipari. How Kitron could be Tzipari if because Tzipari is such a beautiful piece, it's not a shtar. Why Zvulun was still not happy? Now it could be just I didn't see this anywhere, but the reason why we were told to destroy the Zayin Umais when we conquered Eretz Yisrael and not to tax them and not to keep them was specifically not to learn from their bad midas. And we see that Zvulun did not do what he was supposed to do, and it could be that this influenced his ability to be happy with his chayach in Eretz Yisrael. I didn't see it anywhere. Just my thought. Amar Abavo, the Akron Se'akar. This pasuk of Akron Se'akar, Zuk Kasiri Bas Adaim. This is Kasiri, the daughter of Adaim. Shehi Yeshevetz ben Hachulas. She's sitting between the sands. Vihi Haisi Yasa Tekua Ali Yisrael B'mei Yavanim. During the times of the Yavanim, the city perpetually antagonized the Eden. Malchus based Chashmonai, and when the Nitzachim, and when the Beis Chashmonai destroyed the Yavanim, conquered the Yavanim, Hayukarin, I say, Achidas Migdal Shir. This captured city of Shir. There's a Gersa Shade, whether the officers lived there or the Shadim inhabited after it was destroyed. 2 different Gersas. I'm going to take out the blood from your mouth. And the disgusting this from your teeth, between your teeth. And the rest is going to remain for our God. This is one of our desires. This is another of our desires. It's our Bat Midrashis that their houses of worship that we took over when we went to Galus. The Hayek Aleph, Yehuda the current Kibusi. What does that refer to? Elu Tratriais the Kraxiais Sheba Adam. These are the amphitheaters and the and the gymnasiums of Edom. Sari Yehuda Lumad Behem Torah B'Rabim. And one day the princes of Yehuda are going to teach Torah B'Rabim. And you see these words being Mukoyim, Mamish Bizmanenu, when you have MetLife and all these massive arenas being used to spread Torah, to teach Torah, to bring awareness to Torah. And whatever. Amar Yitzchak Lashem Zu Pamayis. Ikaran Sa'akar Zu Kisri Bas Edom. Shayahisa Metropolis Shamalachim. This was a metropolis of Malachim. So Ikadami, what does metropolis Malachim mean? The Marbiba Malchi, that the Marbiba Malchi, they raised kings over there. The Ikadami, the Mukmi Mina Malchi, that's where they ended up taking the kings from, but not that they were raised Lashem kings. Kisri Yerushalayim, Lagabi, these two cities, Kisrei, which is the daughter of Edom, right? So it's Edom essentially. Yerushalayim, Lagabi, these two cities. Someone tells you, both of them got destroyed. Both of them are not doing well. Al-Taman, don't believe them. Yashru Shteyim, Al-Taman, don't believe them. That both of them are flourishing, don't believe them. If someone says that Kisri was Charb and Yushalayim is flourishing, or Chalila the opposite, Charb Yushalayim the Yashru Kisri, then you should believe them. Why? Because it says Shenem on the pasuk, Imlai Hacharaba. So we touch it in Meliyah Zu Charava Zu. And Meliyah Zu Charava Zu. If one is filled, if one is doing well, the other one is the other one is depleted, and vice versa. Now we have this Indian zel umazeh. When one kayak, that's the opposite of that really. But that's the opposite. Zel umazeh would be the opposite of this idea. Fine, interesting. And Menachem Yitzchak shows a similar concept from another pasuk, and it says by Rivka when she went to go bidarash Hashem, it says this idea that one will be stronger and the other one will not be stronger. Another member from Rav Yitzchak, Yuchan Rasha Balamad Yuchan Rasha Balamad Tzedek. This pasuk is a conversation between Hakadosh Baruch Hu and Yitzchak and Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Amar Yitzchak l'fnei Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Rabbeinu Shalom Yuchan Esav, be nice to Esav. Amar Lai Rasha, he's a Rasha Gomer. Amar Lai Baal Lamad Tzedek. There's nothing nice to say about him. There's no one that can be done on Chatzchus. Amar Lai Be'eretz Nechayches Yo. Even in a perfect land in Eretz Yisrael, he's gonna make ruckus of it. He's gonna make trouble. Amalai in Cain, valuable Geras Hashem. So the end of the pasuk is in that case, withhold your glory. In other words, give him Olam Haza, so he does not merit any Olam Haba. So said Atitin Hashem Mayabe Russia. Zimamai, don't give in to the wants of a Russia. Zimamai Al don't take out his nose ring. Don't take out don't take out his nose ring and make him exalted. Amar Yaakov, this is a conversation between Yaakov and Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Amar Yaakov and Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Rebbeinu Shalom al titin la'asais, al titin la'esav harasha ta'avas liba. Do not give him his heart's desire. What is it referring to by his nose ring? We know that by an animal, a nose ring is used to control them. So he said, don't take out the nose ring of Edom. Zu Germania shel Edom. This is a place called Germania, which people said was Germany. You'll see why in a second. If they come out in full force, they started both world wars. This is a little bit out there. This going on. There are 300 princes in Gemamia. And there's 365 officers, I think, underneath that. And every single day, one of them goes against the other one. One of them dies. And they have to appoint a new king. You see that because of the internal fighting, they don't have time to be mach of the world. This is the nose ring that it's referring to. Don't take away this internal unrest. Because without this internal unrest, we see today by the Ishmaelim, that we say also, if there wasn't so many fightings between all the different chevra over there, they could do a lot more damage. Hashem Yazar. There's another member of Yitzchak. This is one of the most famous Gemaras of all time. If someone says, I looked, I tried, and I did not find, don't believe him. I did not look and I found. Don't believe him. If you research, and if someone says, I searched and I found, believe him. So the Gemara finishes, Hani mili b'divrei, but the Gemara explains what he just said. Hani mili b'divrei Torah. That's b'divrei Torah that you have to search in order to find. Avav ma'asav matan siyata min shmaya. It's completely siyata d'shmaya. You could work and not make money. You could not work and make money, and it doesn't work with those guidelines. Well, the divrei Torah lie. I'm sorry. The divrei Torah lie amran el lechadudi. Just that's in Havana. To remember learning Siyatim and Shemayahi, that's complete Siyatim and Shemaya. Now it's just interesting, a word that I heard a long time ago. If it's Yigatza, then why is it Mitzasa? You don't look for a Mitzia. If you look for something, you find what you deserve. You find the proportion to your looking. What's the Lashon Mitzia by looking? Nobody goes outside and looks for quarters on the. People. It's not the normal, right? If I'm looking for something, why is it called a Mitzia? If I'm working, you don't say I found the check, I found the paycheck at the end of the week. You worked, you got paid. There's no mitzvah. So they explain that if someone does the yigiyah, his schar, what he's pile ice, is far more than his yigiyah. So that even the gabi's yigiyah, it's considered a mitzvah. But to get the mitzvah, you have to do the yigiyah. Okay, weiter. Fine. But Rabbi Yitzchak. Another man from Yitzchak. In Ra'is Rasha, literally means if the hour is smiling on him, which means he's having a good run. He's in a groove. Altis garbai. Do not chopper with him. Shenemar altischa b'merayim. Don't go against bad people. He's going to be matzliach. Shenemar yechilu devachav b'choles. He's going to have atzlacha. He's going to actually win you in court also. Your mishpatim are removed from him. He's going to see the downfall of his enemies. All his enemies, he blows at them. Like he machs all his enemies. In fact, the Gemara not like what you said. The Gemara is asking Kashan Mitzvah now. That again, the Mitzvah says you shouldn't chop it with guys with Risham. You could chop it with Risham even in Al-Mazah, Shenemar, those that forsake the Torah, praise the Rasha, V'sharmi Torah, and those who watch the Torah, Yizgarubam, should engage with them, should interact with them. The Tanya, and we learn further, Rav Destay ben Abar Masan Amar, Mutal is Garam Risham. While the Mazah, you could engage with Risham Al-Mazah, the Im Lachshech Adam Leimer. If you're going to say, and if you're going to read the following pasuk, we just said, don't chop it with the bad ones, and don't go back, don't be zealous, don't be don't be but what's the Hebrew lesson? Don't be don't be someone who's like mamash. He makes rockets. He's like a big I can't think of the word. Not a big mechana, a big. Pinchas was a. Okay, don't be a zealous. We'll use the art school word for now. Don't be a zealous. That means only somebody who types the pasuk is somebody whose own chatam are bothering him, and he's not secure about his own madrega. I'm sorry, only somebody who has a virus is going to touch the pasuk like that. Ella, so how am I going to touch it? What this is saying, don't compete with them. Like, don't try to be a bigger Russia than a Russia. Go away from these guys. Go against them. Don't takana not lashon kinai of zealousness, but a lashon of takana of being makana of wanting his behavior. Guys, Ula Amar. I'm sorry, but Aimer, Ali Kana Lipcha Bekatam. Don't be Makana, don't let your heart be Makana Chatam. Don't say, even if you're sitting in Shiva, it might say, looks Kishmak, what the guy did Matzah Shabbos. Don't be Makana, don't be Makana theirs. So the Gemara brings a few different reasons why it's not a steer of Yitzchak's din and what we learned from Rabbi Stai and Rabbi Yechanan and from Mishum and Yechai. When it comes to your personal beef, he's bumped into your car, whatever it is, that don't make, then follow Rabbi Yitzchak, don't make a ruckus. When it comes to standing up for Kavod Shemaim, talking in shul or whatever your kanas is, that's what it is. Your whatever your kanas is, then you could, you know what I'm talking about? Okay. Then you could stand up. Then you could stand up for the sake of Shemaim. Iba is saying it's talking about by you. It's both talking about Milah Didei, mundane matters. But like Kasha, Hab Tzadik Gomer, Hab Tzadik She'ena Gomer. That Tzadik, Rabbi Yitzchak is talking about Tzadik She'ena Gomer, and Rabbi Yechanan is talking Mishum Yechayev. The study is talking about a Tzadik Gomer. To be, if you know what a Tzadik Gomer is, Ayin Be Tanya. That next year is coming up. The Amar Puna by the Mar Dafsir from Lama Sabit Bagdim Tachish B'Vay Rasha Tzadik Mimenu. Like, why are you being quiet when a Rasha is swallowing up someone who's more righteous than him? So we see that it's Tzadik Mimenu B'Leya, Tzadik Gomer in B'Leya. No, it's only someone who's not such a great guy, but on the scale from bad to good, he's higher on this. He's further along on the line than the Rasha, but he's not a Tzadik Mamish. He's not a Tzadik. He's not an absolute tzaddik. He's relative to the Rasha. He's a tzaddik. Rabbi is saying another answer. Shah misachekes leishani. Rabbi Yitzchak's din of not shepherding with a Rasha is dafka when he's having a good run. Otherwise, you could rely on Rabbi Yechanan. So it's a few different answers of how to address those two members. Amar Ula. Italia, the city Italy, Shal Yavan of Greece. Zek Frak Gadol, it's a giant city Shavami of Rome. The Havi class Mea Parsa, 300 parsa on 300 parsa. The Yeshbai Shisa Shavakin, and there's 365 marketplaces, community Nemasachama, like the days of the year. The cottage Shavakuan, and the smallest one of these marketplaces, Shamarche Apis, is the poultry department. The Havi Shisha Asa Mil al Shisha Asa Mil, and this small one, Nabach, was 16 Shisha Asamil, 16 mil. Umelech Sayid v'chol yayin be'echad mehen, and every day the king went and he spread the love. He went and visited a different restaurant every single day. He went to a different marketplace to chap lunch. V'hadaba v'hadaba. Alpha pisha ein noiled ba. I'm sorry. Alpha pisha ein noiled ba noitel pras min beis hamelach. Even though the city was so affluent that even though even if you weren't living there, oh, I'm sorry. Vahadarba, someone who lives in the city. Even if you weren't born there, but you just like an illegal resident, illegal alien, you still got stipends. We know countries like this that do this, right? They give free stuff to people who weren't born there. And if you were born there, even if you don't live there, they sent it to you DHL. Noitel pras mi beis hamelach. They still got a stipend from the government. The shloish alafim the shloishes alafim bnei yeshbai v'chamish meis. Oh, there was this 300. I'm sorry. The shloishes alafim. This 3,000. Bathhouses inside the Chamesh Meis Chalanis Malin Ashan Chutz L'Chaima, and they had 500 windows that took out the steam above the gates of the wall, so that the wall shouldn't get black. Tzadei Echad Yain, Tzadei Echad Harem Amagvay, Tzadei Echad Mechitza. Oh, it's Tzadei Echad Yam. One side of the city was Yam. Tzadei Echad Harem. One side of the city was mountains. Tzadei Echad Mechitza Shabaza. One was an iron gate. Tzadei Echad Chulses Umetzula, and one was the swampy pebble land. Okay, we're going to stop here. Shkayach everybody for joining. With Shem tomorrow night, we're going to continue from the Mishnah on Vav on the days. Thank you.